we got us a casual geographic video. This is the animal not safe for school. Let's check it out.
Investing, taxes, and a ferocious hidden anus. 3 things school ain't teach you enough about. And unfortunately, this isn't a finance channel. Of course, we're talking about the final boss of Phocas, the maligned weasel, one could say measle, of Madagascar, the Fousea. And with that, there's 2 types of people. Those that have never perceived this rough draft cat, and those that never would have if Jada's will would have rocked Chris and left him with Fresh Prince before they did 2 movies. And that might be because putting the Fousea on a lesson plan would mean explaining to a room full of children that concealed poop shoot
Hold on. Why he look like this?
is their actual name. Cryptoprocta ferox is their scientific tag, where ferox means fierce or ferocious, and Cryptoprocta refers to the Fousea's anus being hidden from the public.
Hidden anus ferocious. What the kind of name is that?
Fouseas use scent glands to mark their territory, and these glands are found in the anal pouch, and this anal pouch is like a modesty garment for their brown balloon knot. That modesty got rewarded with the scientists immortalizing the big bad of Madagascar by its forbidden Fruit Loop. At least they're not alone. They could always start a support group with a platypus. The name almost becomes purposefully provocative when you realize there is one whole, no pun intended, genus named Fousea. This Fousea genus has 1 living member, and it's not the Fousea, cause screw them, that's why. It's actually the, to be fair, closely related Malagasy civet. But the fact is, a dope-ass scientific name like Fousea fasana went to the civet, but the actual Fousea—
that actually is a tough-ass name. Fousea fasana. That's hard. Not gonna lie, that's tough.
But the fact is, a dope-ass scientific name like Fousea fasana went to the civet, but the actual Fousea got stuck with missing butt muzzle. That's not the last or worst way they get screwed by their own anatomy. I think you know what's coming, but we'll get to that. Maybe the name refers to how much of a
Anytime he says they get screwed by their anatomy, they have baby dicks. Every time, I promise you. I guarantee you they got a millimeter Peter. How much you want to bet, chat? We've watched too many videos. We understand. We here. We're we're connected. Every time he says that, they got the smallest dicks. Every time. How much, chat? How much you want to bet, bro? How much you want to bet, chat? Come on. Come on, bro. I watched too many videos.
Pain in the prostate, figuring out what this beta-tested big cat actually was. The Fousea was first described in 1833, where they were put in the vivarid family. Not a vivid ferret, although I wouldn't blame you, but a family that has the P. They were put in the vivarid family. Not a vivid—
What the fuck is that?
Vivid ferret, although I wouldn't blame you, but a family that has the P smells like buttered popcorn binturong, along with civets and genets. In 1939, they were moved to a subfamily in Felidae, because folks were really sold on it being a cat. In 1945, a change of heart put incognito back with vivarids. Almost 50 years later, in 93, they got a little warmer, with a DNA study putting the Fousea at the mongoose lunch table. But it only took 2 years for someone to try to argue them back with the cats and family Felidae. An animal that hides its seat lips in a family of felines that flash it like ID should have told him the Fousea was—
Oh, hell no. That cat's whole butthole just went on the nozzle of that motherfucking bottle. Burn it. Burn it. Burn it. No. Yo.
Fousea was the imposter, and eventually something did, and they were put in the Eupluridae family in 2003. It took almost 200 years to ascertain what this unhinged roid weasel was. That still begs the question, what exactly is a Fousea? That question takes way too much time to answer, and it's probably why most schools don't even bother. So obviously I'm going to try to do it in a minute with no teaching degree. So, with Order Carnivora, there's basically 2 teams, Team Cat and Team Dog. Team Dog, Caniformia, is—
Okay, wolf, dog, fox, Africa. Okay, house, cat, cougar. Makes sense.
Basically all the animals you think are dogs, and you got your pinnipeds, the raccoon family, your bears, and the weasel family.
Okay. So, kind of like seals, kind of like raccoons, kind of like bears. Okay.
AKA the animals that think they're bears. Team Cat feliform are, well, cats, hyenas, and the mongooses. The Fousea is on the feliform side, and their family Eupluridae is full of animals you've never seen before. If you can name this, you're either lying—
Is that the— Is that a— I was thinking a red panda, but it don't look like a red panda.
or you're better than me. The Fousea family shares a common ancestor with the mongoose mafia Herpestidae, and both of them are distant cousins with the hyena family. So even though I'm pretty sure I called it a weasel twice, they're actually on opposite sides. In fact, when you think about it, mongooses are the weasels of cats, and weasels are the mongooses of dogs. Eupluridae has other Madagascar predators you've never heard of because King Julian didn't scream their name loud enough. They include 6 types of Vonceras, like this
Nigga said red panda. It's a Fousea, nigga.
ring-tailed right here. And also mongoose members like the brown-tailed and the broad-striped. But like I said, the closest living relative of the Fousea is the Malagasy civet that snatched its chain and took his name. But best believe the Fousea gets the last word. So what is the Fousea? The Fousea is an overgrown steroid mongoose civet understudy built like a time-strung cougar with the same cursed anatomy of a hyena. Nothing about animal casserole is straightforward. Even their name had to be an argument. Anyone who had a childhood like mine would pronounce it the same way I've been doing. But if you follow the Attenborough rule, Sir David would have had you saying Fousea. What if I told you both are technically wrong? Cause their name comes from the original Malagasy word, and apparently the correct way to say it is Fousea, Fousea, Fousea. Like foosh with a performance anxiety at the end. Experts feel free to correct me, but apparently that is the closest to the OG Malagasy pronunciation. It's just that the global game of telephone has Americans saying Fousea, while England pronounces it as Fousea. So if your point of reference is the movie, it's the Fousea. If it's Sir Attenborough or the Wild Thornberrys, it's Fousea. And if you want to feel better than everyone, it's Fousea. Now, another reason the Fousea is blacklisted from the curriculum is not just because depending on where you are, they can be thousands of miles and oceans away, but the entirety of your Eupluridae is endangered, and if they're not, they're endangered of being endangered. What does that mean to you? Well, it could mean a lot. You never know what cures nature could be hiding, or where. Scientists once studied the antibodies in llamas in hopes of curing the big cough of 2020, and many believe this moss carpet's fur may contain the key against malaria. But beyond that, losing life over there could hit your pockets here. Deforestation is the biggest reason for the flatlining of Fousea and friends, and according to this article, the same arborcidal activities can cause extreme weather that can lead to the jacking up of food prices. So yeah.
From potatoes to cocoa to coffee, severe weather spikes food prices worldwide. Oh my God. Climate crisis causing food. Oh my God.
Something happening a world away can come back to bite you in the wallet, and you might not even realize it until you're forced to finance a carton of eggs. That's honestly why I feel pretty good about working with Ground News. And I do. And whether it's in your actual geo to subscribe. But anyway, Fousea are a lot. Actually, speaking on their name, we low-key don't even spell it right. The original Malagasy name is Fousea with 1 S. Apparently colonizers saw that and were having none of it. Also, we don't know exactly where the name comes from, but the theory is in languages like Tagalog, Fousea means cat, and in Iban, Fosa might also refer to the Malayan weasel. So I can only guess that something happened where they were like, well, this thing looks like a cat, but could also pass for a weasel, and we call both Fousea. So the logical name—
it'd be a pet. I'd make it a pet.
Name is Fousea, because being a Fousea means being defined by how close you are to being something else, which is actually their origin. Fousea are a cat's nature tried redrawing strictly from memory, and I'm not even kidding. You ever wonder how they got there in the first place? The aggressive absentness is believed to have spawned from a common ancestor about—
Bro, about 7 times now, I done seen these niggas' balls. Can we like blur these a little bit or something? I'm not gonna lie, cause like, god damn, nigga. I done seen these balls too many times during this one video. It's only been 7 minutes.
20 million years ago, except Madagascar physically divorced from the subcontinent of India 80 million some years ago. How did the Fousea get loose on Madagascar? There's a couple theories, and the predominant one is that their ancestors rafted on floating vegetation, about 250 miles across the Mozambique Channel, a trip that would have lasted a little over a month. Really, the Fousea just proves how much nature cooked with cats. You basically had an oversized meerkat spawn on an island with no big cat apex predator. So they messed around and became one. The end game of evolving the perfect merc machine with milk—
oh my god! Holy shit!
So they messed around and became one. The end game of evolving the perfect merc machine with—
holy shit.
milk is apparently cat. Fouseas aren't that, but these Fouseas apex is This was a reasonable crash out. They might look cute to us, but this is the reaper to the Madagascar population. Nature didn't stop at retractable claws. They have ankles that can almost turn backwards, meaning they can move—
what the fuck? Excuse me? How is that a thing? What? They can move what?
Nature didn't stop at retractable claws. They have ankles that can almost turn backwards, meaning they can move through the trees like a homicidal squirrel. It's not enough that they'll run you down on land or tree, but they'll often tag team prey, with one Foos chasing prey through the trees, weaponizing predatory parkour to force them on the ground, where Fousea number 2 hawks them down. The entire jungle is food to a Fousea, even their closest cousin. There was an actual problem where researchers were trying to study the Malagasy civet, but Fouseas kept following trap lines and eating the captured animals. Fousea move on their own timing, literally. They're cathemeral, meaning they're active whenever they feel like. There's no combination of numbers on a clock when a Fousea can't strike, which is why their main personality trait is inflicting primal panic in lemurs. Not only is half their diet lemur meat, they'll straight up rip sleeping lemurs out of napping spots. They tell stories about the Fousea. This is their Freddy Cougar. That is one bad motherfucker. She-Faka. That is a She-Faka, and they're named after the sound they make in the face of a Fousea. Oh shit.
Hey, bruh. That's Zumba Fu right there, bruh. Chat, y'all remember Zumba Fu?
That is a She-Faka, and they're named after the sound they make in the face of a Fousea. Oh shit. Because Fousea will eviscerate them, with scientists finding Fakas life deprived with their intestines ripped out. Fousea will flatline anything lemur, even the ones weighing nearly as much as they do. You think they give a Faka? No, they take them straight off the senses. She-Faka, he-Faka, you-Faka. In a Fousea's eyes, anyone can get it. Millions of years being marooned on an island does things to you, and one of the consequences is Fouseas do something no other mammal does. The following is strictly for educational purposes. That being said, it might just be time to put the kids to bed. Fouseas can't change from girls to guys, but boy do they do everything to convince you otherwise. Fousea go through transient masculinization, where they develop the same pseudo situation hyenas got. Except with them, it involves a young female Fousea flitterus growing large enough and spiky enough to make them
Did this nigga just say flitterus? Don't piss me off. A fucking flitterus. Is that what you just said?
Masculinization, where they develop the same pseudo situation hyenas got. Except with them, it involves a young female Fousea flitterus growing large enough and spiky enough to make them anatomically identical to a male. They'll even release the same musky orange product males do. The difference is, where hyenas have to pass kids like a kidney stone, eventually the Fousea's baby-making business end goes back to normal. But for a time, you really can't tell male from female. And that might just be the point. There's some things about this freak-off ferret that makes being young, female, and Fousea the worst combination. Female Fouseas are highly territorial, because they'll make love in the same tree year after year, call it the tree of life. And Fousea foreplay involves the female sitting high up in the tree, with starving males down below competing for her time. Now the thing with Fouseas is, the female will spend nearly a week in the tree, where she'll be visited by several males. 4, 5, sometimes 6, 7.
6, 7? 7 niggas in a week is crazy. A week?
Some yellow lights don't get ran through that much, and there is no honor system. Males will often climb up the tree to shoot their shot, while the female's already physically occupied by another. So yeah, it's a Fousea freak-off free-for-all. Imagine the ones from the movie, but instead of feeding for food, they desperately fall over each other trying to make a baby mother. Which might explain the gender bending. Young females can get put on a shirt by an older vindictive female, and put in a hearse by a horde of hormonal males. This can really be a problem, since apparently males can't tell when a female is ovulating, so they just keep trying. Which could kill an inexperienced female, cause, well, they're not the only ones with some nonsense in the nethers. Fouseas hold a world record, and that's having the largest penis relative to body size.
I was wrong. They got a fucking monster. I was wrong. I was wrong. I thought they had a millimeter Peter. They got a fucking tank. What the fuck? I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was on the same level, but I was wrong. Because anytime he talks about the anatomy, he talk about their dick, dude. Come on, bro. Someone do the math. The mammal with the largest relative to body size is this resembling carnivore has a length of 17 to 20 centimeters, reaching to between its forelegs when full size, and a total head to tail length of 100. Whoa! That means its junk is nearly 1/6 as long as the mammal's entire length. Y'all getting out-dicked by a fucking fossa.
Nonsense in the nethers. Fouseas hold a world record, and that's having the largest penis relative to body size of any mammal. They somehow beat out the tapir, and I've seen one use his as a tripod and a back scratcher. But I guess a 30-inch animal dragging a nearly 8-inch nectar dispenser is notable.
I I know the fuck I'm not seeing a pink overlay of that. Is he, what the fuck?
Educational purposes, I swear, because the sheer coital competition is why Fousas are hung like an adolescent donkey. They also have a baculum, which is a bone to allow the male to stay in the game as long as possible, even when the coach, other players, and even ref want him out. And not only that, they also have backward-facing spines on their procreation pickle, which makes retraction not impossible, but incredibly uncomfortable.
What?
Other players and even ref want him out. And not only that, they also have backward-facing spines on their procreation pickle, which makes retraction not impossible, but incredibly uncomfortable to watch. Can't even imagine how that feels. Or maybe I just don't want to. We probably wouldn't even know all this if they weren't so damn loud about it. It's also hard to miss that females can put in 14-hour shifts in one day with multiple.
A fucking 14 hours? That's over half the day. Are we watching back shots? Yo, we're watching Fousea back shots, bro. You thinking you're just hearing the animals. Oh, I'm out here enjoying nature. I'm just hearing the animals make their you know, they just, you're hearing a Fousea fuck for 14 hours. Oh, hell no.
Males, or sometimes just one. Not only will a Fousea couple go at it for hours, they can spend an extra one stuck in the same physical tie dogs get caught in. Of course, this means nothing to the competition, with researchers witnessing females having to chase off males while still attached cat dog style to their last body. And sometimes multiple rivals climb the tree to fight the male while he's still baculum deep.
That is so insane. Do you realize how crazy that is? Do you realize how crazy that is? That might be worse than, like, you know how, like, we talked about how if you had to protect yourself when you were naked or something, that might be worse than that, because being naked is one thing, but being stuck and having to fight your way out of that while stuck is so crazy. Nigga said, at least let me pull out. Oh, hell, war zone in the Diddy zone. Okay.
Straight player hating, and why Fousas do it at the very tops of the trees, like a tryst on trapeze. Some males will even play defense by guarding the female hours after they mate, especially if that male got interrupted. The couple can even injure themselves, and there's a non-zero chance the male falls and breaks his baculum. It's an entirely unpleasant process from start to finish, and if I have to know that, you do too, and if you unclick for that, I wouldn't blame you. But really makes you look at these guys different, and when your own conception is that demon-esque, unfortunately it's no surprise when they get treated like one. In Malagasy culture, there's something called fadi. My understanding is fadi are spiritual beliefs Malagasy people live by, basically cultural taboos ingrained into their society. For example, eating with a hat on, considered fadi, and the punishment is baldness. Eating while standing is fadi, and the penalty
Oh, bitch, you gonna bald? You gonna scalp my shit because I'm eating with a hat on? I'm not going there.
considered fadi, and the punishment is baldness. Eating while standing is fadi, and the penalty could be famine. There's hundreds of examples of fadi, and one of them actually protects the Foush. It's said that Fousas will feed on the long expired bodies of ancestors buried in the forest, making it fadi to eat Fousea meat. But Fousea have some other freaky folklore about them, like one that says they crawl out the forest at night to steal babies straight out the cradle. Another legend tells of Foushes licking a sleeping person to put them in an unbreakable trance so they can disembowel them. Another says the Fousa's smell is enough to drop chickens dead on the spot, literally instant death through mustiness. So yeah, lemurs aren't the only things with thumbs that don't think much of the afterpick of an anti-drug PSA for predators. But of course, the Madagascar murder mongoose is almost zero threat to humans. To a lemur, that's a death threat, but to humans, they're just overly ambitious raccoons. Compare that to the absolute number done on the cryptic chocolate Cheerio by man, and it's no matchup. If they're not actively getting screwed over by property development, Fousea get flatlined in retaliation for preying on poultry. Not to mention many will defy fadi, as in up to half of all Malagasy communities, Fousea flesh is regularly eaten.
Like that?
Honestly, Madagascar as a whole is in danger, with over 90% of her forests.
Yo, these trees are crazy looking. Am I crazy to say that? These trees look insane.
Already gone. And keep in mind, many like the Foush are only found on the Big Red Island, so once they're gone from there, they're gone for good. Better appreciate it while it's still here, and who knows, maybe I'll take a trip down there. No promises though. I've already made too many. But as for later, for now,
Yeah, you
drink
got some
water,
shit
hug
to
your
do,
mother,
bruh.
spread the Fousea word. If school won't, we will. Touch grass, call your father, and I'ma see y'all in the next one.
These motherfuckers agile as hell. Hey man, look at his little feet. It's like a seal, a land. No, not a seal. It's like a land otter. That's what it feels like. They look like a otter that would have been on land type shit. Hey, W video though. Shout out Casual Geographic, man. Appreciate you teaching a nigga. You know what I'm saying?